Happy Thursday, and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by nobody. Lee is behind the Mac today, though, which is...
Hello, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. That's been the fun thing about this whole thing. We're still kind of waiting to see, the co-host or when Shane gets back, whatever. Like, it feels like almost every day it's a new producer, Danielle, Jacob, Leah. So we still got to change things up every now and then. Look, guys, appreciate everybody being in here, especially with the Diamondbacks game going on. We are going to be talking Arizona State football, and then we got a little fun question for everybody in the chat at the end of today's show, brought to you by Leah's TikTok. But before we get to that, do us a favor, do Bobby Hurley a favor, hit that like button real quick. He's begging, he's pleading, and, he's just asking for a like from all the dudes and all the fellas and everybody else in the
and the
chat.
ladies.
And the ladies. Everybody in the chat. The children that watch this show, find your parents, and you shouldn't watch this show. But yes, we've got sound from Trenton Bourguet, Brian Ward, Kenny Dillingham, all talking about Washington, Michael Penix Jr., the Huskies, a team that is number 5 in the nation. Okay, there aren't a lot of people that expect Arizona State to even put up much of a fight. But that's the fun part of this whole thing, is because nobody thought that Arizona State was going to be able to compete with a ranked Washington team last year when Michael Penix Jr. and company came to Tempe. And you know what happened? Arizona State pulled off the upset with then backup quarterback Trenton Bourguet. Emory Jones obviously started that game, ended up going down, and from that point on, it was an absolute dogfight. Arizona State ended up winning that game. I want to say it was 45-38. Trenton Bourguet had himself a little bit of a day, and then from that point on, it was really Trenton's show for the rest of the season. He had some really promising games. Trenton Bourguet was actually asked earlier in the week about that win and kind of where it set Arizona State up to finish that 2022 season. This is what he had to say.
Yeah, it was a super fun day, super exciting. Coach Iguano getting his first win as a head coach, beating a ranked Washington team that was super explosive offensively, a great team overall. But I thought it was just a great team win. Special teams, offense, defense, all contributed to the big win. And, it's crazy that was already a year ago, and fast forward, and, that's the last team to beat Washington. They're a great team with a great coaching staff, so it'll be a fun one this weekend.
Absolutely. Trenton Bourguet was 15 of 21 in that game for $182, 3 touchdowns and an INT. And you're probably sitting there wondering, okay, well, Michael Penix Jr., did he not have himself a game as well? Well, he did. Even in that loss, he was 33 of 53, 311 yards. But the Arizona State defense did prevent Michael Penix Jr. from throwing a passing touchdown. Wide receiver Rome Odunze had 9 catches for $115. He's gone on, obviously, this season to be one of the best wide receivers in all of college football, a surefire NFL first-round pick at a certain point in his career. But again, looking back at that 2022 game, because I think there are obviously things that Kenny Dillingham and this staff can pull away from that game and maybe utilize, because it is a very similar Washington offense. Again, Arizona State coming out on top 45-38 in that game against then 21 ranked Washington. That was really their second loss of the season. It was tough for them because at that point it made it almost impossible to end up in the Pac-12 championship game. There were a lot of people that thought Washington had a real chance to eventually play SC or Utah in that Pac-12 championship game, maybe win and maybe find themselves in the college football playoff. And they are definitely seeking revenge this weekend against an Arizona State team, which again has Trenton Bourguet at the helm, right? But it is a completely new offense. It's a completely new defense for Arizona State in this one against, again, a high-powered Washington team that has really slaughtered just about everybody they've played. Outside of Arizona, I believe that was only a touchdown difference in that game. And then obviously this past weekend against Oregon. You best believe Kenny Dillingham and this staff is going to be watching that tape and have already watched that tape time and again to figure out a way to keep this game competitive, because that is going to be the key. Glenn in the chat, Washington slept on us last year. This year they won't, because last year they didn't forget. Yeah, I think at this point you're not going to necessarily get that same factor of, oh, it's just Arizona State, right? Because to your point, Glenn in the chat, this is a team in Arizona State that was the last team. The Sun Devils are the last team to take down Washington, and it has been over a year now since they have lost a game. And they haven't lost to a Pac-12 team, obviously. It is certainly going to be a different look for Arizona State. We're going to get into what Kenny and Brian Ward had to say in just a little bit, but just my 2 cents on this whole thing, right? I think if you're Arizona State, you can't have this game be a shootout. Now, I know you're not going to go and you're not going to stop this Washington offense. You can't. Nobody's been able to stop this Washington offense pretty much. And here we go. We've already got Derek here. Mid-Diamondbacks game.
What do you do? Mid-Diamondbacks game? The goddamn game has started. It's on. We need you out there.
I'm busy, man.
I talk about this.
I know. I can't. I just can't.
This is absolute bullshit, Totri.
Okay,
do you not even like Diamondbacks?
I love the Diamondbacks.
Do you not like Arizona sports? I don't think you do.
Is it still 0-0?
It's still 0-0.
Okay.
Brandon Fott actually struck out Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
That's really cool. Okay,
yeah,
no,
I need you to wrap it up.
I got you. We just started, but I'll do my.
It started what? Everybody's watching the game.
I'll do my best. Your face is as red as your shirt, Derek. Jeez, I'll get out there as soon as I can. See what I have to deal with, people? Like, this is, come on now. Like, they just don't take me seriously at this point. They just want to pick me up and put me in that damn little spot, and they want to sit me there. But as long as I'm here, we're going to be talking Arizona State, okay? So look, I think if you're Arizona State, similar to the USC game, you don't want this game to be a shootout. I know you are not going to be able to stop this Washington offense because nobody has been able to do it. Brian Ward said earlier in the week, look, this is a team in Washington that's given up only a handful of sacks all season long, which is a crazy stat in and of itself. It just goes to show just how good that UW offensive line is. You look at Michael Penix Jr. and the Washington coaching staff, they've been together for a while now. Obviously, him transferring over from Indiana a couple of years back. Michael Penix Jr. is familiar with this offense. He's familiar with this system. It's what's made him such a dominant quarterback and what's made him the favorite for the Heisman. So, to Kenny Dillingham's point earlier, right, this is in a Washington offense run by Michael Penix Jr. that has such elite weapons on the perimeter, a super solid offensive line that allows him time, not that he really needs it, to go through his reads well protected, right? You play man against him, he's going to throw the jump ball to, one of his many talented offensive weapons, who Kenny said they win that battle about 70% of the time. And if you play zone defense against him, he's just going to kind of pick you apart before the blitz gets there, before the pressure gets there, right? So this is certainly going to be a tough task for Arizona State, but I will say, everybody's sleeping on him just like they slept on him last year. That's fine, right? And it's understandable. I hate to quote Deion Coach Prime Sanders. I hate to do it, right? But he said after the team's loss to Stanford that, like, that's exactly what you're going to get, right? You lose to Stanford in whatever fashion, you are absolutely going to get shit on social media. Now, for Arizona State, there's a reason that people aren't going to be picking them to even keep this game competitive. Why? Because, look, they're injured. They got a defensive lineman working with the offensive line in practice this week because they're so banged up. They're a team that hasn't beaten an FBS team this season. And in the one win that they do have against Southern Utah, it was only by a handful of points. So rightfully so, people are going to be taking the Huskies. But I will say, it's college football. Anything can happen. There's a reason that these games are played, right? You don't just schedule opponents and they mark them up as wins and losses before you play the 4 quarters. Anything can happen. We've seen it in college football. We saw it this past Sunday in the NFL. And Arizona State has the weapons specifically on offense if they're able to find a little bit of synergy, if Trenton Bourguet is able to go through his reads and find Elijah Badger, if he's able to find Gio Sanders, if he's able to find Jalen Conyers, if the run game is able to get life from Cam Scattaboo, from DeCarlos Brooks coming back, if the offensive line can hold up a little bit, then Arizona State is in a good spot to keep this one competitive. I know Caleb Williams is not on Arizona State's roster. I don't think you need Caleb Williams to go out and to beat Washington. You just need to go out there and you need to play Arizona State football. And I'm not talking Arizona State football under Herm Edwards. I'm talking the future of Arizona State football, which is a high-powered offense in a chaotic defense that gets the quarterback uncomfortable and moving around. That's how Arizona State on the defensive side of the ball needs to keep this game close, is they need to get Michael Penix Jr. on the run, and they're going to have their hands full against a really talented Washington offensive line. We're going to get to defensive coordinator Brian Ward and head coach Kenny Dillingham, what they had to say here in just a second. But first, I want to tell you guys a little bit about our friends over at Four Peaks. If you got maybe this tab and another tab open, or you got this open and you're watching the Diamondbacks game, hopefully you guys have a Four Peaks brew in your hand, because there is nothing like watching the Arizona Diamondbacks take it to the Philadelphia Phillies. You
can drink the Rattle On Red Ale. They have like a
Do they really?
beer, Rattle On Red Ale.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Look, Four Peaks has it all, guys. It's perfect for tailgates. It's perfect for sitting at home and watching the game. It's perfect for every single occasion. I know you can get the Red Ale. I know you can get the Wow. You can get the Hazy. My personal favorite around this time of year is Pumpkin Porter, man. It just hits different. Okay, guys, visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all your favorite brewery tours and events. Stein holding Oktoberfest and Haunted Brewery tours are right around the corner. Check out at Four Peaks Brew, at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. You got to be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. TB12 Tom Brady in the chat. You think Bourguet can get it done? No way in the world. You know what? Nobody thought he could get it done last year coming in mid-game, and he did.
What's Tom Brady doing in our chat?
Yeah,
Tom, enjoy retirement.
We've had some. Tom, you want to co-host the show?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm just curious. Look, slide in my DMs, Tom, and we'll figure it out. Okay, my people will talk to your people. Your people will talk to me because I don't have people. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Look, the best part of coming in the office today, aside from the fact that Leah had baked the most absolutely incredible banana chocolate chip muffins that blew my mind, is the fact that Max lost a bet to me and he paid up today. He brought me my bag of OGs, and I can't wait to get home to try them. He brought me a whole bag of the fruits and the creams. I am so excited. A little sunny sativa, and it's so nice and happy on it. It's the little orange bag. So many different flavors, guys. Blackberries and cream, orange creamsicle, peaches and cream. It is truly the best scratch-made gummies in the Valley. Check out our friends at OG's Brands for yourself and try one or a few of their many delicious flavors. Check them out across all socials at OG's Brands and online at ogsbrands.com to find them at a local dispo near you. They got to be 21 plus to enjoy responsibly. Okay, getting to what Kenny Dillingham and Brian Ward were talking a little bit this week about the Washington Huskies. We've already kind of touched on it, right? This is a Washington offense that has really beat the brakes out of every single opponent that they have come across. There hasn't really been a defense that's been able to stifle them too much because Michael Penix Jr. just has been that guy. It is super tough to go out there and stop a guy who is playing at the level that Michael Penix Jr. is. He's playing himself into the conversation of being a potential top quarterback taken, not at the point of Caleb Williams yet, and I don't think he'll get to that point just because of the prospect that Williams is, but I could see Michael Penix Jr. potentially playing himself into that 2 spot depending on how the rest of the season goes for him. No, I'm not worried about UNC's Drake May. But I'll tell you what, Arizona State has their hands full. Brian Ward specifically has his hands full trying to find a way to slow down the best offense in the nation. So how do you do it? Well, this is what Brian Ward had to say.
They're pretty good, and every week I just look at our matchups and just where we're gonna maybe have an advantage and where we feel like we need to really exhibit our strength defensively, whether it be stopping the run, our interior D line, our edges, and everything starts up front, but I really do believe that this is the best pass protecting offensive line and really in college football. And that's why you see this quarterback just operating, and he's just a great operator, number one, because those guys know how to protect up front. And when you know that you're going to have that kind of protection on each snap, on every snap, and every time you drop back to throw the football, I think there's some crazy stat. They've been five sacks in the last 18 games or something like that. So, we got to work cut out for us up front. And then, the receivers, I mean, they're the most physical group of receivers that we've seen. They're probably the most well-coached just overall. I mean, they run their routes and they know how to create separation even when they're covered. And, and really they just don't have a weakness.
4, actually. They've been sacked 4 times. That's it. Up to the midway point of the season, Michael Penix Jr. has only been sacked 4 times. That is your key. That is your key to potentially opening the door on Saturday, is you got to find a way to get to Michael Penix Jr. If you're unable to do that, then you might as well just call it a game now, because that is going to be an absolute slaughter if BJ Green, Prince Dorba, if CJ Fight, if some of those guys in the front 7 for Arizona State are unable to find their way to Michael Penix Jr. in the backfield, then this is going to absolutely be a really tough game for Sun Devil fans and for the Arizona State defense, because this is what they do. They sit back, they protect Michael Penix Jr., and they just beat you. That's all they do. It's not like a high-powered offense of the past. When you watch this offense, it quite literally is a machine. They know exactly what they are going to do, when they're going to do it, and how they're going to do it, and they do it to an absolute T every single Saturday, and that's what's led them to be the number 5 team in the nation. So, look, it is going to be a tough task. It's going to be a difficult thing to do, but something that Kenny's talked about from really every single Monday presser that he has is the fact that this team has shown life. This is a team that, there are not a lot of people that pick Arizona State to go out and win there, not just this Saturday, but any Saturday this season, right? It's L. But they're finding ways to improve every single game. It's something we've talked about on the show in the past, right? That is not necessarily something that the fans love to see. You don't really care at the end of the game on Saturday, did our team win time of possession? Did our team win the turnover battle? Did our team win total yards? Did they win, points per possession, but still find a way to lose the game? Then you don't really care from a fan perspective, but from a coaching perspective, that is an important thing, right? To be able to find ways to continue to evolve and adapt and get better as a program, to continue to instill the culture of just because you lose doesn't necessarily mean that there's not something to play for the ensuing Saturday, right? Just because Arizona State has won 1 game and the bowl ban is still a thing doesn't mean that Arizona State doesn't have something to go out there and play for on Saturday. Each and every player has something to go out there and prove. And I can tell you what, something that Jordan Hamm and I talked about yesterday is how important that win was for Trenton Bourguet, how important that win was for Sean Aguano and the rest of this team last season moving forward. If you remember, pretty much right after that Washington game, Arizona State, they played Colorado and they won that game as well. Again, this is a first-year head coach in Sean Aguano last year that was able to do these things. This year, you've got first-year head coach Kenny Dillingham, who all love and all credit to Sean Aguano and what he was able to do last year. Kenny Dillingham is a superior offensive coach, right? This is why Arizona State brought him here. This is why he was such a sought-after guy when he was calling plays at Oregon or Auburn or FSU. Like, this is a guy that is certainly capable of surprising people. Now, we talked about the defensive side of the ball and what Brian Ward had to say, right? You got to find a way to get to a quarterback and an offense that is run by Michael Penix Jr. that just simply doesn't make mistakes. So, speaking of mistakes, how do you beat Washington? Well, this is what Kenny Dillingham had to say.
Takeaways. Got to takeaways, and you got to win the one-on-one balls. They're going to throw one-on-one balls. They're going to throw fades, and you got to come out on top of those one-on-one balls. And if you come out on top of those one-on-one balls, they're going to play in a 3rd and 8 game. And they throw the one-on-one on 2nd and 8. But you have to come on top on those one-on-one balls. And then the true key to the game is winning 4th downs and winning 3rd downs that can get them into a 4th and go scenario. 4th and 10, you can't allow 8 yards. Or 3rd and 10, you can't allow 8 because they're going for 4th and 2. And now you're on the field one more snap, and they have a really good offense on the field one more snap. You cannot just concede defeat on 3rd and 12s to say stopping them short is good enough because they're going to go for it a lot on 4th downs, and we got to get off the field. And that's one team this head coach and this coordinator do well is they sequence calls. They take 3rd and 9s and they give them to 4th and 2s and they go for it and they convert and continue. And they don't care where they're on the field. If it's 4th and 1 and they're on -25, they're going for it. They don't care, right? They have confidence in what they do. So that's going to be one of the key to the games is turnovers, and then that right there. Can we get off the field on 3rd and longs, and then 4th downs? Can we win 50% of the 4th downs?
Well, can they? Do you think they can? Because I think Kenny thinks they can. I think the coaching staff thinks they can. I don't necessarily, I know actually for a fact the fan base doesn't believe. But I think on Saturday, if they're able to keep this game close and competitive, that's where you're going to see the belief in the players. If they are able to win on 4th down, if they're able to find ways offensively to convert, and defensively, if they're able to do what Kenny is talking about, and they're able to stop Washington and Michael Penix Jr. in this offense from sequencing those 3rd down to 4th down plays. Like Kenny said, right? You get this team in 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. They know where they want to get. They're not trying to pick up the entire chunk on 3rd and 12, 3rd and 14. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make it 4th and manageable. Get it to 4th and 4. Get it to 4th and 5. Why? Because you got a Heisman level quarterback in Michael Penix Jr. who's capable of getting 4 or 5 yards in just about every single play. So if you're able to prevent that from happening, if you're able to stop them on 3rd and 12 or, get them from going from 3rd and 12 to 4th and 2 and maybe make it 4th and 8 or 4th and 7, maybe you inspire them to punt an extra time or two. Like that is going to be a true difference maker. And then takeaways, something that this Arizona State defense has had a real tough time doing all season long is finding ways to create extra opportunities for Trenton Bourguet in this offense. And it just hasn't been when Trenton Bourguet is at the helm. It's been when Drew Pine was quarterback. It's been when Jaden Rashada was quarterback. This team has struggled to take away the football and create extra opportunities for the offense. Jordan Ham and I were talking about that yesterday as well, just in terms of what was a key moment for the Sun Devils in that upset victory over then 21 ranked Washington. It was that Jordan Clark pick 6 that obviously added to the scoreboard, but it gave ASU a little bit of breathing room in that game. So you do that on Saturday. I think you certainly put yourself in a position to make this one hell of a game, whether that be a strip sack by BJ Green, whether that be an interception by Jordan Clark. In all honesty, I'd love to see Ro Torrence get his. It's been somewhat of a down season for a guy in Ro Torrence who a lot of people thought was going to be your island cornerback. I think this is a guy who needs to go out there, going to be matched up against Rome. You are going to need to get your absolute best from the secondary, specifically a guy in Ro Torrence. And if you're able to do that, plus pressure from BJ Green, Prince, and all those other guys in the front 7, then it's going to be a game. Let's be real. It's going to be a game, okay? If you're able to get that level of performance from those guys on the defensive side of the ball, you're able to get just Michael Penix Jr. uncomfortable, even for a half, and you're able to create more opportunities, then this certainly is going to be a game. Everyone's writing it off. I know Washington's at home. I know they're the number 5 team in the nation. I know they're 20-something plus favorites. Doesn't matter, dude. You started 0-0, right? Like, that's every single game I've ever seen. You tell me if I'm wrong. You ever watch a football game where it starts 7-0 or 26-0? Nope. Like, they're going to have to go out there, and they're going to have to do it, right? Like, that's just the fact of the matter, is it starts 0-0, and the game has to be played. That is my advice to ASU fans who are just talking about not even tuning in on Saturday or how it's going to be a bloodbath or whatever. Like, they've been prepping all week. You think they prepped all week and they're going to go into Saturday's game just like, yep, we're going to get our ass kicked, and then we're going to fly home. Like, you think that's what the players and the coaches are doing? Like, some of that just doesn't make sense to me. I see that stuff on social media, and, people hating on Kenny already, like, halfway through year 1 of a rebuild. Like, just slow down, okay? Slow down. Obviously, the expectation from a fan perspective and from a national media perspective is not that Arizona State is going to win that game on Saturday. But you talk to the players, which we do. You talk to the coaches, which we do. They are going to go out there and they're going to try and win that game. Okay? I promise you that. They are not signing up to go get their ass beat in Washington and then fly back. That's not really how that works. Okay? One thing that I know this ASU football team is going to miss while they are in Washington is a sweet, sweet little delicacy called Burrito Express. I don't know when we get the luxury of having Burrito Express back in the office, but I will tell you, it goes out of here like rather quickly. There are like tens of burritos, and they are gone usually by the next day. Everybody usually has at least one or two. If you don't believe me, go check out Burrito Express for yourself. Best burritos in the Valley. Never been to Seattle. They're the best burritos in Seattle if they were there. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Go check them out. Grab a burrito and give them a follow on social at Burrito EXP. Now, after this show, what I want everybody to do is I want them to watch the D-backs game, and I want them to have a little faith. Have a little faith in the Arizona Diamondbacks. Maybe place a little wager on them, okay? You're going to do it over at BetMGM. They got a great offer for you guys where you're literally going to get some free money. So this is how you do it. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android, or visit BetMGM.com and sign up with code PHNX. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your newly created account. Place a wager in the amount of at least $10 at standard odds price, a qualifying bet. And once you have placed a qualifying bet, you're going to receive $200 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your wager, guys. Sign up for BetMGM. Use bonus code PHNX. Place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through BetMGM Sportsbook mobile app of at least $10. You will receive $200 instantly in additional winnings regardless of your wager's outcome. Check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
Look, we are going to continue talking Arizona State football on tomorrow's show. Just want to let everybody know the football talk stops, at least right now, for today's show. Definitely tune in tomorrow, and definitely tune into the post-game show that we're going to have on Saturday. Maybe a little special guest co-hosting that PHNX Sun Devils post-game show, so you're definitely going to want to be tuning in for that. But without further ado, Leah, we were sitting in the office a little bit ago, and you had brought up this absolutely... it was a TikTok video that you saw?
Yeah, it was a TikTok that I saw.
What was it?
So basically, this girl said if you could have a liquid dispensed from each of your 5 fingers.
Okay.
And only one hand, obviously. Which 5 liquids would you choose? So basically, these 5 liquids would be at your fingertips literally at all times.
At all times.
Which 5 liquids would you choose to have easily dispensed on your fingers?
Okay, so we're going to discuss this. Everybody in the chat that wants to stick around for this conversation, please chime in. Please chime in, because you had said something earlier today that I didn't even initially think of, but gas. Gas is so elite.
Gasoline, yeah.
Because you'd never have to pay for gas ever again, which would be incredible. So I feel like from that logic, you have to do gas because it just makes too much sense. And then you also have to do water. Like, you can't not choose to do water. So at that point, you've got 3 left. Now, where do you go? Do you go like pleasure? Do you go like...
I feel like it just depends on what kind of person you are, because like one of the ones I said was apple juice. but I love apple juice, and I drink apple juice like every day.
Do you actually drink apple juice like every day?
Almost every day. It's so good.
I don't know if I've had apple juice like more than once a year since I was like 13. Maybe.
It's good.
It's good. It's good.
But like, you could also go coffee. Like, if you drink coffee every day, save yourself a boatload of money and just have coffee as one.
I'm gonna say coffee just because I'm
surprised you're not saying an energy drink.
Well, that's the thing. Is so when I'm thinking long term here. When I'm like 50, 60 years old and I'm trying to for the 100th time trying to stop drink energy drinks, I think it'll make my life a lot easier, because I don't intend to ever stop drinking coffee. You know what I mean? But if I ever commit to not drinking energy drinks, and now I've got energy drinks literally at my fingertips, that's going to make for a really tough quit. Like, it's going to be tough to do. So I'm going to go coffee. So that's 3 for me. You said you have your 5 like ready.
So I'm also going to go gasoline.
Okay.
I don't like picking gasoline because I want it all to be things that I would enjoy, but like I would save myself so much money over my life. So we'll go gasoline, water, apple juice, coffee, and wine.
Oh, wine's a good one.
I do love wine, but if I wasn't doing gasoline and it was all liquids that you like had to drink, like, do I go beer? Do I go like a hydrating liquid? You know, sometimes you just need a little hydration, like a Gatorade situation. There's so many directions. Do you do like hot cocoa? I said chocolate milk earlier. Yeah.
That's a tough one. That is a real tough one. So what I said gas, water, coffee. Real basics. I feel like I can get fun with these 2. Like, I'm really torn here because I don't drink soda.
Like, do you do beer? Because
like
your finger is like a keg stand.
I do. That's crazy.
Your finger is a keg.
That's crazy. Literally beer running through my veins at all times. I don't know if I would go beer as much as I would go like just straight liquor. Yeah. I think I might go like just tequila. Might go Casamigos. Like,
also, do the bougie. Save yourself some money too.
Absolutely. So Casamigos. That's crazy. So gas, water, Casamigos, and coffee. And I got one more. Now I'm starting to think outside the box a little bit here. So it has to be, it's a liquid. So maybe I could do olive oil. Oh. Because then you never have to buy a little cooking stuff. You could use it with all your foods and stuff. You could, if you want to go
That's a really good answer.
You could go the syrup route.
I thought maple syrup popped in my head immediately.
Because you could go condiments.
But maple syrup is also extremely expensive, so you would save yourself money over the course of your life. Or at least someone like me who buys the expensive pure maple syrup.
I think honestly, out of left field, I'm gonna go olive oil as my last one. I think, I
respect it.
I use it with all the foods, all my family's foods. There's always some sort of olive oil in it. So is that like my finger starting 5? Is that what I'm going to call it? Like olive oil, gas, coffee.
Don't get those 2 confused though.
Yeah, they got to be on opposite, like this is olive oil, this is gas or something like that. Okay, so water, olive oil, gas, tequila, and coffee. That's my 5. Wow. That's, again, not something I figured we would be discussing on today's show, but I'm pretty happy with my list. I feel like that's a sensible list that gets me through life, saving a lot of money, and utilizing everything that I need properly. I'd say that's fair. Again, chime in the chat. Let us know what you would do. Would you be able to use like spaghetti sauce? Does that count as like a liquid? Or is it sauce?
No, we got to stick with liquids.
Quesos?
I guess I don't
it's
know.
Tough.
I feel like we need to keep it to things you drink rather
That's
than
fair.
like.
That's right. So, but we have gas.
I mean,
No, I'm with you.
That's like runnier.
Yeah, I gotcha. Absolutely, guys. Well, it's a bummer I won't be able to add spaghetti sauce to my starting 5, but you guys, I'm not going to say you can because there's no way that you're going to be able to actually get spaghetti sauce to come out of your fingers. But check out Spaghetti Shack because they do have some bomb spaghetti. My personal favorite, the meatballs at that place go absolutely crazy. Shout out Spaghetti Shack for feeding all of PHNX this week. It is seriously, I'm going to say it's outside of my mom's spaghetti because, it's my mom. Come on, guys. It's my mom's spaghetti. But Spaghetti Shack, quite literally, some of the best Italian food that I have ever had. Go ahead, check them out. They got a couple different locations, and if you didn't know, they serve an entire menu: spaghetti, meatballs, garlic bread, and a few other fan favorite. It is ASU alum owned and operated. Again, you guys can enjoy some delicious spaghetti, meatballs, and more at any of their 4 Arizona locations. You guys can learn more at thespaghettishack.com. Before we get out of here, I started the show off saying I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by nobody. But the best part of having no official co-host is that when we have the one shot, you guys can see all of the awesome stuff that FOCO has put in these PHNX studios. If you didn't know, FOCO is a leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise with a product line that includes apparel, accessories, toys, collectibles, novelty items, and more. They've got so many things that I'm out of breath just talking about it. It's the best officially licensed gear for all sports and fandoms. Foco always has our back for Arizona sports, and they have yours too. Get the best gear around by visiting www.foco.com and using code PHNX for all non-presale items. Use the promo code PHNX for 10% off. I was looking around for the Diamondbacks little straw hat. I don't know. One of the guys
maybe
out there has
it's
to be
being put
wearing
to
it.
use.
That's my favorite Foco thing ever, is that little Diamondbacks hat. It's also Jalen Conyers' favorite hat as well, his favorite Foco hat, at least. Guys, that is going to do it for today's show. We really do appreciate everybody in the chat. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on your way out. Like I said, we are going to continue to talk Arizona State football on Friday's show, a little post game on Saturday with a special guest. You're definitely gonna want to be there. Tune in tomorrow for a little prediction party, because that's what it is going to be, Friday at 2 p.m. But in the meantime, you can follow me on social at Anthony_Totri. Leah, to keep things consistent, where can people follow you?
At Leah Merrill.
Oh, that's
Twitter.
easy.
Yep.
That's so easy.
Easy. No
Jacob and
underscores,
Danielle
no
have-
numbers.
It's awesome.
I know Danielle's. I'm always like, abracadabra.
And I always have her spell it too.
Yeah.
So that honestly, that makes me kind of a dick for making her spell it. But have a shorter at, guys. Have a shorter at. You can follow the entire show at PHNX_Sun Devils. Like I said, we appreciate you guys. And before you go tune in to the Arizona Diamondbacks game, one thing for you: go Devils and peace.
We all silly like the mayor.